Cybersecurity. I know, I mean, nowadays, wherever I go, everybody really wants to understand, okay, what the cybersecurity are, what are the certification we should do so that we can earn all those knowledge that is required in the organization. But the bottom line is, I mean, the exact point is what exactly you have to do once you join the organization. The very first thing, as an administrator, we always have tons of job, tons of problems that we need to face in day-to-day life. And one of the biggest problem is the user compromisation. I mean, not a compromisation, that's not a word. It's a user compromise problem. The user compromise problem is all about, like, if the user is sitting right here in India, and after few minutes or maybe an hour or maybe in a day, that guy suddenly starts using their account from Australia or maybe from US or maybe any other faraway country where he used to access his account all the time. Definitely that's a suspicious thing. And as an administrator, you need to start investigation because, okay, I mean, you can provide all those remediation plan. All right, guys, I mean, simply go to the account if you forget your password or maybe you are not the right user, because the MFA, multi-factor authentication, if you have implemented, good, that's great. The other thing is maybe you have given the security questions to all of the users that they have provided during the time of the first time they logged in into the account. Great, sounds perfect. And also maybe you've given some additional options to reset their password if the user think the user has been compromised, or maybe they receive some sort of notification that, hey, your user has been recently logged in from this particular location. I mean, these all are the real problems. And all right, I mean, you provide the remediation plan, but what about the investigation? That's exactly you are going to learn right now with me in AZ-500 security series. It's not just called security series, it is a cybersecurity certification. Hello guys, my name is HarshArena, and in this particular video, it's gonna be quite long, so you have to stay with me, enjoy with me. I mean, I'm gonna not just talk about all those stuff, I'm gonna show you from where you're gonna start investigation, how you're gonna start making a plan to secure your identities. And what are identities? Obviously, it's all about the users and the groups. And of course, the last step, that you have to submit the investigation that from this user, I mean, that particular user, from where exactly that guy logged in, why we feel it's a suspicious thing, why we feel that maybe this is the risky user that we need to investigate, and all those possible detail that can help you to justify that, hey user, maybe you are not doing something right, maybe he have not configured the MFA properly, even you have given the instruction. Yes, even you can enforce those things, but sometimes you cannot simply enforce because there are multiple scenarios in the organization. That's exactly, we will talk about all those possibilities and obviously what are the best ways to deal with these kind of situations. And I think you have seen something new as a word, Entra, right? So in the last year, the Microsoft has introduced this name Entra as a name of the Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Yes, I think you can see I'm still using this name, but just to tell you guys, this name has been changed now, frankly speaking, and it is called now Entra ID. It is no more called Azure Active Directory. We call it Entra IDs. So don't be confused if I say, hey, let's go to the Entra ID and start looking into the option, or maybe I'll say let's go to the Microsoft Entra management and then start looking this and that option. It's all the same. Previously we called it Azure Active Directory, now we call it Entra ID. And similarly in Microsoft Entra family, there's a couple of things that we are gonna talk about one by one. Of course, today we'll talk more on the Entra ID, and later on we'll talk about the permission management, the verified ID, and I'll show you practically that how you can configure, how you can use, and how you can energize the complete Microsoft Entra management so that you can use all the right option to deliver the right information to your management, because they're certainly looking for the governance details, they're looking for all those investigation details, so that they need to think about, okay, what else we can do to improve the overall security in the organization. And similarly, we'll talk about more on the governance part, but that's later on, not in this video. And the last thing is about the workload identities, which is really interesting and nice topic. But yeah, I mean, I just want to give you the name that you need to keep in your mind as compared to the last year, because we didn't have these all names. And like I always said, Microsoft is always fascinated with the new names, complicated names and all that. So once you understand the users and their creation, the group and their creation, because now I have not explained all that in the last video. Yes, I teach you how you can start creating the user account in Microsoft Azure. But what about the Microsoft 365 Admin Center? What about the other possible ways that you can deal with as an organization once you join them, and where? Because sometimes we feel surprised. All right, I didn't make this user. Who made it? So you need to know and you need to understand the background of the Entra setup, because it's not just directly related to Microsoft Azure. Office 365, we call it Microsoft Office as well. And you need to deal with all those Office 365 Admin Centers settings as well. And of course, Microsoft also introduced a completely different Entra management. We'll talk about all those stuff right in this video. And before to start the practical, obviously I'm gonna just directly take you to the practical and start working on those parts. But before that, you need to understand this video will contain a couple of additional details, including how you can start looking into the identity protection. And I'll try to make some setup for you, and you can also do the same. Though I'm gonna give you the all step-by-step details that how you're gonna achieve those kind of practices. If you want to do it in your environment, I'll take care of that. And additionally, the implementing policies. I mean, once you know, okay, this is how we start investigation, I also teach you how you can set up a new investigation based on those conditional access policies and all other Entra identity protection policies that can help you to identify or at least start investigation on risky users, risky sign-in, and risky applications. Because all those settings available for you, you just need to choose the right one based on your requirement. And we'll talk about those, all the possibilities and all those kind of features availability that you can use in day-to-day life in the real world of the cybersecurity. So yeah, that is just the introduction, just the basic idea that what you're going to learn in this video. And I just want to tell you one more thing. Maybe you guys are aware about how you can create the users and the groups, but there are, I mean, few things have been newly introduced in the Microsoft Azure. So I would like to also share with you all those things, so that at least for the next 1 or 2 years in Microsoft Azure, you must be aware, okay, these are the possible settings and this is how we're going to use all those different options available for us. So I'm sure you guys are ready, because this video is going to be a little bit big and we have tons of things to learn in this one, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So guys, let's begin with the practical. It's around 11 p.m. and I would like to admit one thing. If you are living nearby the airport, making these videos are really sometimes horrible. Because this is my 10th time I'm gonna restart my video just to bring this professional level kind of audio. The reason being because they are passing by near my home and it's just interrupting me all the time. and I would not want you to hear these sounds. That is why I'm creating the video during the night hour, but that's okay. Anyway, let's come back and let's start working on our video. So at this moment we are in Microsoft Azure portal, and like I mentioned, we are gonna talk about the Entra IDs. In other sense we call it the Azure Active Directory IDs, means user accounts, the groups. So obviously in Microsoft Entra, you have that option to create those identity, because after you know how to create the identities, only then you're gonna start protecting them, right? So it's not the new thing for you, I'm sure, if you are already using Microsoft Azure, and I'm hoping that you are watching my videos for AZ-500. I already teach you guys how you're gonna play with the user account, obviously also from the PowerShell. But right here in this video, in the AZ-500 certification, again I'm gonna talk about a little bit extra about the user accounts, because here we are not just gonna talk about the normal user accounts, we're gonna talk about the on-premises Active Directory sync account as well. So to play with the user account, one thing you can simply type here Microsoft Entra ID. Obviously that's one thing, it can take you directly to the user accounts option, or you can simply find out the Microsoft Entra ID if you recently work in this under the Azure services. So once you go here, on the left hand side, you can have this users account. But before to go in this, I would like to tell you, if you want to play with the complete features, everything about the Microsoft Entra, make sure you must have the Microsoft Entra ID P2 license, which is the Premium 2 license, which can give you all the authority to start creating and managing everything which is being offered by Microsoft Azure. Now let's create the user, and for that on the left hand side we have options called users. So once you go here, it's pretty the simple and the same portal that you have been gone through if you already created these accounts. So let's imagine that you are the administrator of your organization. I'm 100% sure the type of the users you can see right now on my screen, you won't find the same or similar in your job experience. You can also find other kinds of user account as well. Similarly, I give you example. Right now, my user type is member, right? As you can see. Obviously, you can also find the guest user account. You can also find Active Directory sync accounts, which is gonna be information and the part of this one on-premises sync enabled. As you can see right now, none of these users is been synced from my Active Directory. Right now these all users are created under the same Azure Active Directory. It's all in the Azure, not from the on-premises. But today's video is also been gonna be dedicated for Azure Active Directory as well as Active Directory sync account, because I want to teach you, if you have the Active Directory, how you're going to use the latest tool from Microsoft Entra and how you're going to sync your user account straight away from your on-premises. So anyway, right now we are in Microsoft Azure, and let's begin with the new user. We are going to start creating the user account like this one, the member user. So for that, let's create a new user. I clicked here. Obviously need to give the name. I give the name Tom, and the domain name you have to choose either harsharena.onmicrosoft.com or harsharena.in, because that the custom domain I have imported in Microsoft Azure. So if you don't know how to import your custom domain, I would highly recommend you to go to my AZ-900 series and learn from there step by step how I actually intake my custom domain into Microsoft Azure account. But in this video, I'm not going to teach you because the option is available under the custom domain in Microsoft Entra on the left hand side, and you can go through all the options right there. Anyway, at this moment, I'm going to choose the default one, harsharena.onmicrosoft.com. After that, the mail nickname would be fine, Tom, and display name. Actually, the name of this guy is Tom Anderson. I mean, I like the name anyway. So there are two options for you. Either you can create a password. I mean, this is the password. You can copy the password and you can share with the user, or you can make your own password and give to the user. I mean, whatever the user you are trying to create right now. So another option is account enabled. Whether you want to enable this account or you want to disable this account. And also guys, if you hear the sound of the plane, please don't mind. I can't do anything about that because I tried so hard. This is the 10th time I'm making the video and I'm not gonna stop this time. So apologies for any inconvenience caused. All right, so account enabled, yeah, because see, this is the very interesting part. If this user is about to join the organization, then obviously you don't need to enable this account, right? That is a case, that is a real case that we always do as an administrator for the organization. If this user already joined and would like to create a user account, then obviously you have to go through this account enabled option. Otherwise you can play with the later on, I mean, if it is disabled as an example. But here's the information. The second step is the properties, which is again, these all are the attributes. And believe me, as compared to the last year, I mean 2023, and here we are in 2024, Microsoft has added tons of additional attributes right here under this creating the user. So obviously, as an identity, we have created Tom, and Anderson is the surname, and what kind of user type it is. I mean, member or guest. Obviously at this moment, we have user type. We're going to talk about the certificate user IDs later on. What would be the job title? This user is the engineer. Okay, what would be the company name? Company name would be HarshArena. Department, IT, employee ID 756698. That's my Microsoft ID. Employee type, full-time employee. I mean, you can add on this information. He joined from May 2. I mean, you can add all, or yeah, the important thing is the office location. So office location would be like, for example, India, or maybe specific to here, New Delhi, Gurugram, in South India, Bangalore, or maybe New York, if you are in US. I mean, you have to give the proper the office location there. Manager, if you have a manager, you can add the manager right from this place as well. But again, I'm not gonna do that at this moment. I hope you get my point. These all are the attributes which can help you. I'm gonna tell you where, but not at this moment. When we play with the groups, I'll tell you how it is gonna help you there. But now, I mean, if you like to add more, up to you. If not, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Assignments, interesting. If you like to add this user to a certain group, you can go ahead and obviously add that. At this moment, I have not created any group because I will teach you how you're gonna start with the group, how you're gonna play with the groups and all that kind of thing. I'll later on, I'll tell you. And most important thing, if this user has joined with a specific role, you can also select add role. You can give any of these roles, maybe this user and user administrator, maybe is a application administrator, maybe this user is handling all those cloud applications, so you can assign the cloud application administrator. Maybe he would like to manage all these Microsoft Entra, so maybe you like to give this the Microsoft user administrator, which is also gonna take care of the Microsoft Entra ID. If the user like to manage everything, for example, he is the another administrator who joined your organization, you have to go through the global administrator who is the top one. Accordingly, on the right hand side, as you can see, there are a number of job roles or roles available. So these roles are responsible for to do certain things which has been already described on the right hand side. So be careful while giving the permission, while giving the right role to the user. At this moment, I'm not gonna do or play with these roles at this moment. So I have not assigned any roles. And if you are fine with it, simply click review and create and hit create there. And in just fraction of seconds, the user is already created. So if I go to the refresh, you can see the Tom Anderson is about to create very soon. It's ready now for us. And like I said, as you can see, this is not synchronized from Active Directory, and he's just a member right there. Just a normal user inside your Active Directory or Entra right now, right? Simple, no difficulty. The other thing is, if you like to know that there are other ways as well to create these users, because this is very interesting to know. Why it is so important you guys to know about this, because when I joined, I have seen the experience that I said, I personally given the these user details, and they said, Harsh, there are around 120 users that you have to create because these people are gonna join our organization. I thought, okay, that's fine, I'm gonna create that. But I also observed that some of the user which I have not been created still exist in Microsoft Entra. So how is it possible? Guys, nowadays, I like to tell you, not nowadays, it's been already introduced long time back, but this is something very less people usually talked about. That if you already are in Microsoft Azure and you like to know, hey, where this user actually comes from. So you have to think about two other things. No, I'm not talking about the PowerShell, because that's the way to create the user account. I would like to explain to you that exactly these users came from. Where's the point? What exactly other options right there for you to use the same Entra IDs, same Entra for the Microsoft, and then you can have the users which you have not been created, how to identify all those details. So step number one, maybe some people like to go to entra.microsoft.com. Now guys, this is again another place where you can find everything. I would like to repeat, everything related to Entra or Microsoft Entra, I can say. We discuss about the identity governance, we discuss about Entra IDs, we discuss about the workload identity. You can find all those features and you can manage everything right on the left hand side, right? You can have permission management, you can have this preview feature, global secure access, which we are going to use in the future. Obviously, you can monitor your user, you can have Azure security profiles. Like I said, everything you can find under this place about Microsoft Entra, and you need to know this admin page for Microsoft Entra, right? And here, when you have the user, if you click on user and all user, you can have a similar kind of screen that you just seen in Microsoft Azure portal. Other thing, which other than that, you can also have another portal which we call Office 365 admin portal. If you just simply type admin.microsoft.com, as soon as you type, you can see this screen. It's a new screen. Previously, it was a different one because all sort of security and all other features were also listed on the left hand side, but not anymore, because now if you like to see all those features, you have to click on this, not a hamburger, but all the dots on the left hand side, and here you have Microsoft 365, security, compliance, admin center, everything, right? And here, once you go in this admin center, a default one, you can have the probability to add a user. Apart from that, you can, if you click on this admin user, now this screen is not exactly the same of the Microsoft Azure, because here you can find a very limited information. What does it mean? Because that the same information you didn't find in Microsoft Azure. I'll show you what is my meaning here. So for example, if I take you to add a user, okay, it's a new screen, type another user. For example, user migration 01 as an example. Actually, it's not a good example. I say user admin. Okay, this would be fine. Okay, user admin, display name. It's automatically recognized user admin. What would be the username for you? user admin. Simple as that, no difficulty. Now, obviously, automatically create a password. If you remove this, obviously, it can give you the option to create your own password, which is similar to the previous thing we have seen. Now, send password in email upon completion. Yeah, this is also the option you can choose. Require this user to change the password when they first sign in, which is a great option because definitely you don't want to assign or you don't want to use the automatically assigned password for all the user. You have to give chance to them to create their own password. So yeah, this is the right one for you. So if you go to the next one, now this is important. First of all, select location. I would like to tell you, if you don't select any location, you are not allowed to assign the license of this user. And this is exactly the difference you can find here, because right now we are also dealing with the Entra here, and this is the Entra ID only for the same same Azure or same account that I have. And if you like to verify my account, on the right hand side you can see this is the same account I'm using for the Microsoft Azure, just for your reference. But just for information, right now my location is in India, so I choose right now the location as in India. And here's the option in Office 365, not Office 365, Microsoft 365. Mind you guys, but Microsoft plays these days with these different names, abbreviations, so be careful. So it's now Microsoft 365 Admin Center, not the Office 365. Okay, my bad, apologies once again. Okay, so if you want to assign the license, you can select the license and go ahead. At this moment, I'm not interested because I have remaining only one license. So what I'm gonna do at this stage, just create the user without product license. So this is exactly the difference. If you want to assign the license, because sometime you have to do in the organization, then you have to create the user inside the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. If the responsibility comes to you to just create the user, simply go to Microsoft Entra under the Microsoft Azure portal and create the user. Get my point? Now the next thing, if you go to the next, here's the roles. Similarly, what kind of responsibility this user may have in your organization, you can simply assign this limited one, or you can simply click on show all categories and you can find tons of other responsibilities as well. Similarly to the Microsoft Azure portal. At this moment, it's simple a user. I'm not gonna play more on this. And all categories, you can find it, or you can have profile information. What would be the job title? He's not an engineer, he's a scientist for me, as an example. Department, data science at this moment. Office location, New Delhi, that's fine. Mobile number, blah blah blah, street address. I mean, you can play with this, or country right now, India. So we have to choose India. Let's go down where we are here. Italy. Oh my god, there is no India. Interesting. Or is it? I mean, maybe I'm missing something here. No. Really? Oh, Microsoft. Oh man, I mean, I didn't check this option. I'm checking it right now for you. But anyway, I mean, you get my point. Oh, now we are from US, not from India. Anyway, leave this part. Oh man, I'm so sorry guys, India is not there. I really missed you. Microsoft, you have to think about, man. I mean, Microsoft Azure, everything is managed by Bangalore for you. I mean, I was there in Microsoft. Hey, well, how did you miss this? Or maybe I missed, I don't know. I didn't check much. But anyway, you get my point. Under the optional settings, let's click next. And once you're ready with the user, simply hit finish adding. And user admin added to the active user. This user has been already added. Or you can simply create the user template. So for the next time you can add all these details and simply create the user. Is again easy for you. So we are good to go, and you can see the user admin is right here. And if I take you back, here we have to refresh. And there you go. This users also exist now in Microsoft Azure. So this is one of the kind of the user basically that you need to understand, and you need to play with more user information. But before to play with other user, I would like to just show you that what other user information you can see under this portal. So for that, I think I have to take you to my spatial place. This is the spatial place. So guys, what we are doing right now, we are learning how to create the Entra IDs from different ways, and one of the ways and one kind of user you have already learned. The purpose of this one is just to know that we are trying to safeguard our organization using the cloud identity solution, that is the identity protection. So for that, to whom you want to protect? Obviously the users. That's exactly we are learning now as a basic step, that you need to know how to create the user, and then later on you can apply all those identity protection settings, or I can say the permissions, right? So obviously we already know that Entra, previously we called it Azure Active Directory. Now we call it Entra user. So we have done already the member user, because as you can see on this screenshot, you can have a couple of other things, like you can have member servers, right? All are member servers, none of them are the guest user. But don't worry, today you will see the guest user as well. The difference I would like to show you in this case is this one. Can you see this on-premises synced? Only 2 user, you can see yes, because to achieve this, what I have done, I have created the on-premises environment, and I have created the user and then synchronized my user straight from my Active Directory, on-premises Active Directory, to the Azure Active Directory using Microsoft Entra Connect. That's exactly what we are going to do today. So this is the first phase that you have learned with me, how to create the user using the simple place, the Microsoft portal, Office 365, and Entra admin, which is exactly the same information that you can see in Microsoft Azure. Now let's go back and try to learn all about the guest user, how to involve the guest user, and what is the purpose and in what sense you have to use this option. And the third step we are going to use to create the Active Directory sync user, and I will show you how you're going to sync your user account straight to the Entra portal. I promise it will be so quick to create this guest user account, because this is another kind of ID sometimes you need to create for the external user who is not exactly the part of the organization, but sometimes you have to invite them to do a certain job for some days, maybe for 10 days, maybe for 20 days. For example, you maybe hire some web developers, or maybe your organization is looking for the expert consultant which is going to work only for 3 months because they have certain assessments to do, or maybe they have certain websites assessment to perform, so that it can help your organization to create the better website for the future purpose. So similar kind of situation you might have seen already in your organization if you are already working as an administrator. Otherwise, you can follow this step or this way to invite those users, and how they're going to deal with this I'm going to show you all right under this place. So to create these guest accounts, you have to first go to the new user and obviously select invite external users, which is fairly simple, not a difficult thing. You have to give the email ID, which I'm going to give right now, harshadmin@gmail.com. This is my very personal email ID, which I'm going to show you how I'm going to receive an invitation and how this is going to create a guest account inside my Microsoft Entra. And what would be the display name of this user? Obviously my full name, Harsh Jangra. What would be the message? Hi, welcome to the HarshArena org. We are pleased to invite you for how many assessment? assessment. All right. Thanks. Another train. Team HarshArena. Oh man. All right. Okay. Recipient, no, I don't want to invite anyone. And this is gonna be a customized URL which is gonna received by this HarshAdmin. Similarly, properties, you can add on the name and all that, but right now the user type is guest. All these attributes are the same. You can add on the information, and obviously here's a new thing, sponsors. If you like to add who sponsored this job, you can add them, or you can add a manager who is going to take care of these the assessment in terms. I think you get my point. Similarly, it can also help you to assign the right assignment for these people, these folks. At this moment, I'm not going to do anything of them. And once I click invite, the invitation will be sent to the user. I'm sure it's done. If I'm not wrong, yeah, it's done, right? Successfully invited. But if I click refresh here, do we see the external, right? We can see this user as an external, and here's the guest, right? If I click on this, do you see anything which you need to know at this moment? No. Account is enabled, is ready, blah blah blah, everything. Right now, what about the sign in? Did this user sign in? Obviously we have not signed in yet, so we don't find anything here. If I go back to the overview and let's go to the other browser which I have in Google Chrome, and definitely we should receive an invitation from the Microsoft, which is right here. Okay, so click on this Microsoft invitation. As soon as you click on the invitation, this is the welcome message you will receive, obviously, which is absolutely okay. And to accept the invitation, you have to click on this link right here, or you can click on accept invitation, which is absolutely fine. So I click on accept invitation at this moment, and it will take us to the other page like this one. Okay, and what would be the password you like to add at this moment? Or you can send a code, because if it is the first time, we have not created any password, so we don't know. So email the code, right? So let's go back and find the code. What would be the code? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm on the wrong place. I'm so sorry. Let's go back and see if I received any code or not. Yes, I do. The code is 093501. 093501, right? Simple and straight. After you click sign in, are you sure you want to sign in? Yes. This is another way you can sign in, or you can click accept. Okay, this is permission requested by, you can receive your profile data, blah 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 blah. Okay, I accept it, because right, once you accept, your guest account is logged in and ready to use. What kind of facility you may have, obviously you can find under the application. If you click on my account, it will take you to the my account detail. How was your experience? Yeah, 5-star, man. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, what would be your device? What would be your password? You want to change your password. You can manage everything, security information. I mean, you can have tons of features which has been offered by Microsoft for the external user. Okay, and this is exactly, you can change your password, you can update your password, your organization name, detail, who exactly are you. Right now this is HarshArena, right? So you can see all these details from your user part. So if I go back as an example, and if I click on sign in, let's see, do we have anything or not? Not now. Interesting. Maybe we need to wait for some time. But certainly after some time you can see that the logged in information would be updated here. But anyway, it's not here. I'm okay. What about the UTC? Let's see. I want to try only. No man. What about the audit log? Do we have any audit logs? Yeah, add user sponsor. We have done this and that. I mean, additionally you can do many things, but this is how your user is been managed for the guest. Okay, so I'm sure there is no confusion in this. It's very simple, very easy. All right, so this is how you can invite anyone not just Microsoft accounts, Gmail, Yahoo, or any other third-party account. And that is how the Microsoft Entra is managing your identities, even you are the external user, under the same way, same place. So now let's do one thing. Let's go and learn the third user account, which is synchronized from Active Directory. Let's learn how we're going to achieve that. We are now ready to configure Active Directory on-premises user accounts with Microsoft Entra. Or in other words, I can say, I would like to synchronize my on-premises Active Directory users with Azure Active Directory or Entra. The purpose here is to create the hybrid environment where the users which I have been created for so long in the past in my Active Directory on-premises, now I would like to sync and use my cloud application, which is right now running in Microsoft Azure or maybe some other cloud services. So overall, when you get this kind of proposal, you just need to do one thing. You need to connect your Active Directory on-premises with Microsoft Entra. And obviously, to achieve this goal, what you have to do, you have to download the application in Microsoft Azure into the server, which is the Active Directory on-premises, and follow the instructions to just create your account and then ready for the synchronization. Obviously, in this video, in this part of the video, I'm just gonna tell you that in case you receive this kind of request or kind of that option that you need to prepare the hybrid environment for the organization in terms of the users synchronization, because this is a third kind of user that we are trying to learn in this video as per the Microsoft Entra IDs. So to achieve this, all these steps you're gonna achieve under the Microsoft Entra Connect option. So on the left hand side, if you go down here, try to find the option called Microsoft Entra Connect. As soon as I click on this, under the Microsoft Entra Connect option inside Microsoft Entra, you could see multiple options. One, Cloud Sync, and obviously the other one is the Connect Sync. I'm not gonna talk about and I'm not gonna tell you right now what is the difference between the Cloud Sync and the Connect Sync, because you just need to know now that Connect Sync is exactly the one which we would like to configure for the purpose of the synchronization of our Active Directory on premises. But I'm not gonna say that we are not gonna cover this topic. Obviously, how I can leave you alone, man. We'll discuss about it. We'll talk more about this in the upcoming videos. But at this moment, let's focus on the details that you just want to connect your local Active Directory users with the on-premises Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Entra. So just to tell you, you directly need to go to the provision from Active Directory, and which you can see it's already been enabled, because just would like to tell you that I have tried to configure this for my own personal environment, and I connected just 1 or 2 days ago, if I remember correctly, and that is why you see this option. Otherwise, in your case, you will find out that this has been disabled, and it directly gives you the option to download the package or the that kind of Entra Connect package into the server so that you can start synchronizing. So to achieve this goal completely, and I would like to take you back to the users just to showcase, under the user, you won't see any of the user which is exactly synchronized from on-premises, right? It is absolutely clear, and all the users, as you can see right here, are all based on Microsoft Entra, which directly created in the Microsoft Azure. So now do one thing, let's go back to the server, which is my domain controller. I have already installed and configured my Active Directory. So for that, let me just go down and find out where is my server. And here is my server ready for you, just to show how we are going to configure these things. And I'm not going to tell you from step by step step guidelines that how you're gonna configure Active Directory, because I'm assuming you guys already know how to install Active Directory in Windows servers. At this moment, I am using Windows Server 2016 for the practice. You can use 2012, 2016, 2019 or 2022 servers as per your requirement. Obviously, as you can see right now, I have given the computer name HA-DC. Now the next step is to just create the local user so that you can imagine these users are already available in your environment. So to achieve this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find out the Active Directory users and accounts, that option. So bear with me, I'm gonna try to find out with your help sites. Oh, there you go. Active Directory users and computers. So you have to click this option because here we are going to create our users. So I'll make this screen a little bit big for you so that you can see properly, and there is my server name. Now, one interesting and very very important thing that you need to keep in your mind, that whatever the domain name you have configured in Active Directory, the same name must be imported as a domain name inside the Microsoft Entra. Because if you have not done this, then you might not see the successful steps being configured in terms of synchronizing all of your user accounts. So at this moment, we are already in HarshArena.in, and I would like to confirm that this particular domain is already imported, the custom domain already imported in my Microsoft Entra using those custom domain options from GoDaddy.com, or maybe if you have purchased your domain from any other place. Once it is done, then you can start creating. At this moment, I'm going to create the organizational unit so that it would be easy for you to see how we synchronize. So I will write down security researcher, if my spell is correct. Yeah, I think it's fine. So okay, security researcher. All right, so what would be the username that you like to create for the security researcher as in practice? So if I go to the user and I create the user AD user 01, it would be so easy to rectify that we are following the right step. So I'm gonna use the same name, AD user 01 as a practice, and here's the password for this user. There you go. And I'm gonna follow the very basic step. Okay, password. I'm not gonna explain this detail. We are just creating the user so that we can later see the synchronization of these users. That's it. And I will write down AD server user 01. Two different kind of users I have created here. One is AD user, one is AD server. Just the name, the different one. The password, once again, I hope the passwords would be correct because I always made mistakes here. And I'm really happy, guys. Today, I mean, this is another day. It's not the same day I'm creating this video, and I don't hear the sound of the airplanes and the train so frequently. But yesterday, it was a horrible experience. I mean, I'm sure you definitely hear such sounds, but today, wow, I mean, so relaxed. Okay. Anyway, so I have created these two users as you can see on my screen. Now, as per the next step, how you're going to start the synchronization of these users or any other user within your Active Directory to Microsoft Entra. So to achieve that, I have already downloaded a separate browser because we need to download the Microsoft Entra Connect first. So for that, one option, you simply go to portal.azure.com. Here's a step-by-step guidelines for you, and you need to type your username, HarshArena.onmicrosoft.com. This is my the global administrator, so you have to sign in with the global administrator would be helpful. And there's my password. I am really become stupid these days. Even I forgot my own password. But anyway, I remember it now. So I'm gonna sign in with my password. It took me another 5 minutes to remember my password. Would you believe that? Oh my, oh gosh. I've sometimes made those stupid mistakes, and I am sometimes feel that I'm really become old and I need to take care of few things. All right. Okay, we are signed in right now because it is important to download the Microsoft Connect application, though you can directly also search from Google or Microsoft Bing, but I think this would be the right step in terms of downloading this Microsoft Connect tool. So for that, you need to go to the same Microsoft Entra, and under the Microsoft Entra, under the Manage, you need to go to the Microsoft Entra Connect and then simply go to Manage. If you're doing this for the first time, in your case, you can find your download option right under this place, under this provision from Active Directory. If let's say you have already tried, test, and you want to connect again for some other reason, so what you can do is simply go to the Get Started, click on Manage, and under here you can find out Download Connect Sync Agent. That's exactly what we are looking for. So accept terms and download, terms and download, whatever the terms you guys have, Microsoft, I'm absolutely ready. So we are waiting for the package to be downloaded, and there you go. Once it is downloaded, open the file, and let me just minimize this both at this moment. So I would like to run this, this particular tool. So it's in the background, the name is the same. Isn't that interesting? Microsoft Azure AD Connect. But they are trying to introduce the features with the name of Entra, basically. But anyway, now we are here, and this is something you all guys need to know in terms of the synchronization. So what I'm going to do at this moment is welcome to Azure AD Connect, which is okay. Click on I agree, which is simple step. Click on continue. And now here's the deal. If you're doing this for the first time, I highly recommend, so do not, I repeat again, do not click on use express settings. Because there are some kind of additional tools which is kind of a dependencies in terms of requiring this synchronization from AD to the Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Entra. So to achieve this, better click on customize and then specify. I just want to install everything. I'm not going to choose any one of them, and just follow the required, install the required content. So either you can just follow this step, express setting, which I definitely don't want you to try out. Follow this customize step and simply wait for the installation. It won't take much time if you have a good server power. I think it's good for me in terms of synchronizing my account and having a decent speed of my server. So it won't take so much time. But anyway, we have to keep patience, and let's wait for this step to be completed, because right after this, what we are going to do is we're going to start configuring AD Connect, or in other sense we call it Microsoft Entra Connect, for the synchronization, because here you can have multiple different kind of synchronization option. Let's say if you have configured the federation server in your Active Directory local on-premises, again the older way to deal with all your application or your web developer application built on the on-premises server in the hybrid environment, you can still use this one because it can help you to synchronize all those applications to the Microsoft Azure or Entra ID as well, just to verify that if the users are also in the Azure AD or in Microsoft Entra, again they can sync back to the Active Directory. We'll talk about that later, not right now, because you might be confused and this is not exactly my purpose at this moment for you. So we are not going to talk about all these features, user sign in and all that. We'll just follow the password hash synchronization. The advantage of this one, if you don't know, simply hover this question mark and it can give you the better detail. The option is here, just whatever the user accounts you have is gonna synchronize all those passwords directly to the Azure AD or Microsoft Entra. So I'm going to choose this one. If you want to enable the single sign-on, because if you have a federated server and you have configured SSO, then just click on this. Otherwise, simply click next. At this moment, we are going to follow the same option. Next is the username, and here you have to give the global administrator. That would be the right choice in terms of synchronizing your Azure AD account. So we are going to use the same account that we used to log in, the global administrator that we used to log in the Microsoft Azure. All the time we do that. So here's the complete name of that account. There you go. And after that, the password. If everything is good, because again, it requires my authentication, and definitely it comes to this screen because I have configured Microsoft Authenticator on my mobile phone. That's why it's requiring additional authentication details. So I'm going to sign in again with my user account, HarshArena on Microsoft.com. I think it's correct. Click next. What is my password? There you go. Once I type the sign in, it definitely comes up with this sign in request. And right now I am doing something. Hold on a minute. I'll just verify this particular details on my Microsoft Authenticator service. And in the Authenticator service, I'm going to type the 73 and click yes. It's going to verify my face. Once it is recognized, it goes to the next step. Pretty simple and straightforward. So it's examine the domains, and obviously, as I told you that you have to import the custom domain that you have configured for the AD, and I have already done for harsharena.in. So I have to click on the add directory, and here you have to give the name of the local administrator of the Active Directory. So I'm going to type Harsh. In fact, let me type a small one, harsharena.in, and this would be my the administrator name, and the password of this administrator is this. If the details are correct here, then it will obviously add it successfully. Otherwise, it throws some errors or something. As you can see, it's absolutely good in terms of synchronizing my accounts and everything. Let's click next. And now it is trying to analyze the Active Directory schema. And as it is verified, okay, now we have the same domain name which has been already verified with the name of harsharena.in. That is exactly, I would like to inform you once again, if you have not configured this custom domain in your Microsoft Entra, you won't see this successful configuration challenge here, or whatever the details as you can see on the screen. So right now just click next, and here's the thing. You want to synchronize everything on your Active Directory, or you can select the specific organizational unit, because see, in the past I have my own experience, and I would like to confirm that I don't synchronize each and everything. Usually I choose selected my organization unit, the specific users which I would like to synchronize to Azure Active Directory. And similarly, I choose here as a practice security researcher, if you remember, and there are 2 users into this one, if you remember correctly, right? So click next. I have to select this what are the domain, and I follow the unique identifying your users. Yeah, that's fine. Users are already there inside that one, and synchronize all users and data into that organization unit. Obviously yes. Click next. Now this is so important. Right now, if you remember, during the time of the configuration, I choose password hash synchronization, which is one way that whatever the users in Active Directory we have to update the password only in the local Active Directory. But in the hybrid environment, sometimes it happens that users also change their credential using the Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Entra ways or credentials as well. So what you want to do in that situation, you also want to synchronize back your password into the Active Directory as well. So what you have to choose is password write back. So this is the most common practice used by a lot of people. Obviously, there are other settings as well, which I don't want to talk about at this moment, but indeed, these are the also very, very important details which is going to require based on the requirement of the organization. Anyway, once you are ready with the details, click next. And now we are ready to configure. Are you sure? You want to start the synchronization? So click install and wait for a little bit time to synchronize and just to update things. And on this screen, you will realize that nothing else you have to configure. You just need to wait, and it depends on the number of the users as well. Let's say if you have right now for the practices, we just have 2 users right here, but you may have even more than this. So if you have more users, it may take more time. And also one interesting thing I like to tell you from my experience, if the number of users are not going to show up in the Microsoft Azure, or in other words, in Microsoft Entra users, then guys, don't worry. You have to wait for 10 minutes or maximum 15 minutes. And in that situation, it may take take some synchronization updates from the Active Directory and synchronize with the Microsoft Azure databases, and then update everything for you in your whatever the domain name you have configured inside your Microsoft Azure. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, during the configuration of the Azure AD Connect, if it throws some error, then there's a big deal. You have to take care of those problems, because here if everything configured absolutely correct, then you need to just sit back, enjoy your coffee, and wait for the synchronization to complete. And now as you can see, the configuring, enabling password write back, it's doing all those stuffs for you. I'm just waiting for this to finish, and once it is done, I'll take you back to the Azure Active Directory or Microsoft Entra IDs, and will show you that the synchronization of the users from the Active Directory has been completed, and it's ready to use for any of the application you have configured in the cloud or anywhere in the Microsoft Azure. So I'm gonna stop talking. Maybe you feel bored, or you say, hey Harsh, why you keep talking? Either we are waiting for this to complete. Yeah, exactly. I will stop talking, but I will let the video run, and once it is done, I'll be back and I will showcase the next step to verify whether our user has been synchronized successfully or not. All right, now this is great. As you can see, the configuration is completed right now, and you can see similar kind of details. Let's go back to the Microsoft Azure here. In that case, let me go back, and as you can see, at this moment, no users has been synchronized because we have not clicked on the refresh button. So if I click on refresh, now you can see some details right here, right? One detail is one of the account is been synchronized, which is the name is yes. And if I click next, refresh again, do we have any new user? No. No. Okay. We are waiting for this. Oh, I think we have seen some additional users. That's great. Now we can see 2 new user, AD server 01 and AD user 01, correct? And both are actually been synchronized from on-premises. That is why you will see the yes details here. So this is exactly, I would like to inform you that 3 kind of user types you can see in Microsoft Entra. 1, synchronized from on-premises. Number 2, the guest accounts. And number 3, the users you have created inside the Microsoft Entra. So I hope you get the whole detail that how we're going to achieve it. Now let's go back and try to learn how we can create the same user accounts from the PowerShell. It will be a quick one, don't worry. And I would like to tell you from step-by-step instructions how you're going to start using the Microsoft Azure PowerShell to create the users. Now that we know that how many number of types of the users is available in the Microsoft Azure or Microsoft Entra, now it is our turn to learn also to create the user with the PowerShell. Again, it's not new. If you want to learn that how we can create the users from the PowerShell, you can go to my AZ-900 videos and you can learn straight from there. But again, I have recreated the quick PowerShell commands for you, and I would like to just show you how you can launch a PowerShell in Microsoft Azure if you are learning AZ-500 certification and you are absolutely new in the Microsoft Azure. So here under the Cloud Shell, on the right hand side, there's a Cloud Shell, and just click on this and it will automatically open one of the PowerShell window for you, and it can launch in just few seconds. And once it is launched, it can definitely work the way you want to work in the PowerShell as well. So let's wait for this to be ready. How about the full screen? I maximize it so that it would be easy for you or me just to play with it. I don't know why it is playing with me. Anyway, let me just click somewhere on the screen. Yeah, we are good to go right now here. So to start with creating the username, you have to start obviously to create a profile. So there you go. We have already this information, the type name, and once, oh, I'm so sorry. We have to start with the password. How about this? Yeah, type name. It's so easy. It's so intelligent because I have done that already. So you can see these kind of details already there for you. So you have to type on these all the detail which can help you to create the user account. So once it is done, password, profile, because it is so important to do not make any typo here. So this can help us to create the password profile, because we need to assign the password obviously to the user. So once we type here, this value has been created. Now let's go to the next process where password profile, obviously I need to type the pro one. Yeah, password profile, and then the password would be, we need to assign that password, whatever we have is in fact this one, comma HarshArena 01. Maybe, how about the exclamatory mark? It would be good. All right, so it's done. This would be my password of the user which I'm gonna create. Done. The very next step, obviously we need to connect with the Azure AD. So you type connect Azure AD because it can help us to connect with the existing Active Directory that you are using in the Microsoft Azure, and it is so important for you to start creating. Now it is simply just follow the steps to create a new user account. So type new dash, and it is really so indeed, wow, yeah, this is exactly the user I would like to create, because I have done that already. That's why you see the complete detail here. New Azure AD user, the display name would be Andy Roberts. Obviously you can see I like the name anyway. The password profile is the same one because we have already created the password over there. The UPN would be nd@harsharena.in, and account is enabled true. Obviously I like to enable it. If you want to disable it, simply type false, and in mail nickname would be Andue. Not Andue, I like to make it Andy. That's perfect, I think. So once it is done, press enter, and voila, your user is ready to use now. So if I take you back, just minimize this for some reason. Let me refresh the screen, and you will see the new user account is ready to use now for you. Very simple, only 2 commands or 3 commands that you need to remember for the PowerShell. Obviously, we have a separate fan base for the PowerShell, but at this moment for AZ-500, only this is the maximum detail you need to know to create the user account at this moment. If you want to play with more, obviously go back to the Microsoft website and you can play with the PowerShell commands right there. So we are now finished with the user account. It is our turn to know and gather more details about Active Directory, not Active Directory, Microsoft Entra groups. Alright, so now we know how to create the users from the PowerShell as well. The very next step and the last step in terms of creating the users, you just have to follow for the bulk operation. Now, the bottom line is, if you receive a request that you would like to create 100 users and you have all the details right in front of you. So Microsoft Azure also offers, or I mean Microsoft Entra IDs offers you the way to deal with this. I'm not gonna tell you how you do it because we have done that in the past in AZ-500 videos. So, but I'll tell you from where you can create these bulk operation delete. You can add the users in bulk operation, and how it does, it just allow you to download a sample file within CSV format. Added the CSV format the way it is mentioned already in the document as an example, and it has been already done by the Microsoft Azure. Simply add on all the user details and job done. Just upload the file and run the query and the option, whatever the details right available in front of you, and I'll show you where you can find out. And once it is done, the users is automatically created for you in the bulk situation. So as an example, here in under the users, you have this bulk operation detail. You like to create a bulk users, or you like to invite the guest user, or you like to delete multiple users because it happened. In case the people leave the job, then it is your duty to remove all these users right from the database of Microsoft Entra or Microsoft Azure Active Directory. So you have to follow those details, because all of these three, bulk invite, bulk delete and bulk create, has their own CSV format. And I'll tell you how you can find out. Once you click bulk create, here's a file name. Once you click download, what it does, it actually downloaded a file with the CSV format. And once the CSV format is ready and available for you, you just need to edit the file based on the instructions given in the same file. And once the file is been downloaded, simply you need to upload the same file. Once it is done, click submit. Because if you like to create 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 500 users, the same steps you have to follow to create the bulk users. As simple as that. Similar steps you need to perform for obviously for the deletion and for inviting other users. So like I said, not a difficult task, you can do by your own, but I simply don't want to waste your time because all the instructions is already given to you. Now as a last option in the sense it's a part one. In the part two, I'll tell you what we are going to do, but at this moment in the part one, the last option we have for the Entra IDs, that is all about the groups, because we have not created the groups as yet. Yes, that's good. We have the username, but why the group is so important for the organization and for the management purpose is because, guys, once you create the user, you have to add the users into the certain groups. There are two type of groups are available. One is security and other one is Microsoft 365 as of today in Microsoft. I mean, not a Microsoft. Yeah, Harsh, I know you want to sleep, but don't make these stupid mistakes while talking. Okay, there are two kind of security groups are there. Security group. I mean, security groups. Okay, I mean, that is the right word. And another one is Microsoft 365 groups. Now, what is the difference between these two? The security groups are responsible to assign the permission and so-called the user management and all that. And obviously, you can add the same security groups into other groups as well. Whereas when we choose Microsoft 365, that is moreover for the collaboration. Like if you like to use the Microsoft Teams, if you like to use the Microsoft SharePoint, and you like to share some data with other users, then better choose those groups which has been created with the type of the group is Microsoft 365, because that is enabled with the email. I'll show you where you can find these details. If you click on this new group under the groups option, there you go. Under the group type, you have this security group and Microsoft 365 group. If you choose security group, you will see there is no email ID option generated here. But if I take you here and select Microsoft 365, it automatically give you the option to assign the group email address. That's exactly my point I was trying to mention, that it is only for the sharing purpose and the collaboration purpose. Because if this this group has, let's say, 100 users, so instead of assigning or sending the emails to these 100 users, simply choose the group and all the emails sent to all the users which is a part of this Microsoft 365 group. And if you like to assign the permission to a whole IT security team, instead of assigning the users one by one, simply select the group name and you will definitely assign the permission to all the user who is exactly the part of the security group. I think you get the point, right? So as an example, because there's something interesting I like to tell you, which Microsoft has been not recently, couple of months back, but they have introduced as a new feature, which is so helpful in the real world. So let's say I'm giving you the group name, any name is fine. I give you the security engineers, or you can give any name you like, it's all up to you. So group description, I don't want to give. The Microsoft Entra roles, if you want to assign, click yes, because here you need to choose one by one all of these the permissions and everything. If not, simply click no at this moment, because I like to show you this membership type, because here it is called assign. Assign means you can select the user by click on these members and you select these user accounts and all those different kind of identities which is available for you as a practice. That's good, fine. But let's say you have created multiple users at the same time with the job title engineer, and you have to add only the user called engineers, with the job title engineers. Then what would be the right step for you? Instead of finding one by one and remembering what are those users, what you can do is simply go to the membership type, select dynamic user, and once you select this one, go to the add dynamic query. This is very interesting. Once you click here, and here you can find out the expression option. So guys, start with adding the expression, because we have to configure the rules before to proceed for anything. Click an expression and select and choose a property. Obviously I like to choose job title, and there you go, job title, and operator. Obviously I would like to match a certain value, and that is engineer. And once it is done, as you can see, the rule syntax is ready to use. It automatically generated. Now if you have more customization option, maybe you like to add the location and everything, click on add expression and you can add more details if you wish to. But at this moment, that is absolutely fine with me and I'm okay with that. Once it is done, let's go to the validate rules. And in that one, first of all, you need to confirm the rule syntax has been added, which is right here, and then add users. You don't know which users are there, you can add all of them. Let's say I choose this all user as an example, then value Chris, NT Roberts, that's okay. And in fact, add user. So I don't know which of these users been marked as a job title as an engineer. So once you select all of these users, there you go. Only 3 users has been assigned with the job title engineer, and all other except these, all other are not been assigned. So once you have been validated these information, that can help you to identify. If you don't know, if you don't remember, that can help you to validate, okay, these are the users as a part of the security group. Once it is done, click save. That's okay. So dynamic query is done. Now, once you're ready with the user, just help to create the user, the groups. I keep saying the user. So it's another kind of identity, which is obviously the security engineers. And here, if I like to play with the details, you can find out one by one that this is how you're gonna add, you're gonna play, and you're gonna deal with the situation. If you don't see the users has been added with the job title, but at least you got to know, okay, these are the users which has been titled with the engineer, then you can add them one by one as a part of the process. So yeah, these are all different kind of Entra IDs that you might need to aware of before to proceed with the identity protection. Because in the next step, we are going to learn, or in the next video, as a part 2, we are going to learn how you're going to use all of these identities to protect them, and especially in case you have these kind of problems or you have been compromised, your user has been compromised. So how and where you have to go to start investigation, which is absolutely a thrilled kind of experience. And don't worry, I'm gonna upload first this video. I supposed to add the identity protection in the same video, but it may be too long for you to proceed, so I don't want you to get bored. So I thought it's better to create the identity protection as a separate part 2 video, and I'm gonna work on this because the content is ready. It is something I need to find time and create the video for you. So yeah, I mean, that to be all for today. I hope this video finds really helpful to you and you learn at least something new today with me. And definitely I'm looking forward to meet you in another video. And until then, please make sure you do the right practices on everyday basis to keep on engaging yourself in Microsoft Azure. And Microsoft Entra has tons of features which we are going to explore and learn step by step. So at this moment, please take care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching my video. I wish you have a very good day. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. See you. Peace.